Hello everypony, the one and only Dark Shadow here again with yet another glorious fanfiction reading. Before I begin, I'll be the first to say that I did start reading this story sometime in the past. However, I had to remove those videos from my channel because the author had made changes to the story, especially in the first opening chapters that I had read. Although they were pretty small and minute, they do play a significant role in the overall story, and as such, I felt the need to have to re-record the first few chapters that I read. With that said, the story for today is called The Sweetest Gem by the Rarispy. Here we go. Chapter 1. Sapphires and Sadness. "Careful now, Apple Bloom," said Scootaloo. Apple Bloom held a beaker of orange liquid in her mouth very precariously, ready to drop it over a flask filled with a bubbling purple liquid. "Easy, easy, and now!" Scrunching her eyes shut, Apple Bloom tilted the beaker and let the liquid fall into the flask. A spark lit up the room for a split second as a faint green cloud arose from the flask, before fading into the air. The liquid, which had now turned a deep red, bubbled furiously for a few seconds before quickly subsiding. "Cool!" exclaimed all of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. "Your turn now, Sweetie Belle," said Apple Bloom, nudging Sweetie Belle. "Okay." With a wide grin on her face, she grabbed another beaker full of green liquid and poured it in. "No, wait, don't!" Scootaloo began. But it was too late. A violent explosion rocked Twilight's library, sending books and shards of glass everywhere in a flurry of dark smoke. Luckily, no pony was hurt in the blast, but all the beakers and flasks were shattered, and the library was left covered in deep gray soot. The Crusaders dusted themselves off and examined their flanks with hopeful smiles beaming. Nothing, as usual. They all groaned in disappointment. "Oh no! My library!" cried Twilight Sparkle. "It's going to take me forever to get this stuff off my books." "We're really sorry, Twilight," said Apple Bloom. All three of the Crusaders looked down in guilt. "Oh." Twilight looked around at the mess with a hoof to her chin, but then she saw the guilty looks on their faces. "Don't worry, girls. It wasn't your fault. I'll get this place all cleaned up. Eventually." "Sounds like my cue," muttered Spike, as he enthusiastically got to work sweeping the dust. "I guess it was my fault for trusting you girls with my old chemistry set," said Twilight. "At least it wasn't one of my more advanced sets, or else I might have some much bigger problems around here." "Looks like we're not getting our cutie marks in chemistry, then," said Scootaloo dejectedly, as the three of them all began to walk towards the door, hanging their heads low. "Don't worry, girls. I'm sure you'll find your special talents eventually," Twilight said with a reassuring smile. She paused for a moment, and then added, "Maybe you should all take a good hard look at all the things you're good at already. Maybe then you'll—" "But that's what we're doing," Sweetie Belle replied. "We're doing all sorts of crazy things and seeing what kind of stuff we're good at, so we can find our cutie marks," added Apple Bloom. "And we're not going to stop until we get them," exclaimed Scootaloo. They proudly high-hoofed each other in their moment of pride. Twilight sighed and decided to tend to the broken equipment. All the shattered glass on the floor made it look like some pony had just busted through Twilight's window. "Thanks for the help anyway, Twilight," said Apple Bloom. "Goodbye." Scootaloo and Apple Bloom both walked out the door. Sweetie Belle started to leave as well, but she noticed Spike cheerfully humming to himself while he swept. She tried to resist staring for long, but she just couldn't help but gaze at him. Her eyes met the purple dragon, adorned with green scales along his back, and became lost in his image. They followed his tiny dragon feet as they sidestepped in place, almost in a dancing sort of motion. His tail swung around in tune with his hips, in a motion that mesmerized her. But most of all, it was his smile that just made her hooves tingle. Her smile grew into a warm grin as she walked over to him, but when he turned to look at her for a second, her whole face flinched away. "Why do I keep wincing up like this whenever I go to talk to him? Spike and I are really good friends, so why do I always feel nervous like this?" Why won't my hooves stop tingling? She hesitated to speak, and even flinched again before she finally drew up all her courage to utter those two simple words. Hey, Spike. Huh? Replied Spike, looking up to meet the filly's eyes. Oh, hey, Sweetie Belle. I thought you guys were leaving. Sweetie gulped, her hooves tingling so much that they were beginning to tremble. I just wanted to... I was... I was just wondering if you needed any help cleaning up? Oh, not really. I think I can handle it by myself. Uh, are you sure? Sweetie inquired. 'Cause I mean, I could... Come on, Sweetie Belle, shouted Scootaloo through the door. We gotta get moving. I'm coming, Sweetie shouted back. Bye, Spike. She gave a gentle wave to him and ran out to join her friends, grinning wider than usual. Even her walking seemed to have that extra kick to it now. Well, that was another bust, said Scootaloo as she hopped onto her scooter. Man, we're never going to find our cutie marks at this rate. Oh, come on now, don't give up, replied Applebloom. There are still a million different things we haven't tried yet. I'm sure if we keep our heads up, we'll find out what we're good at eventually. Sweetie Belle joined her red-haired friend in the wagon and strapped her helmet on, ready for a new adventure. There you are, Scootaloo exclaimed. What took you so long anyway? Sorry, replied Sweetie Belle. I was just talking to Spike for a minute. That's all. Huh. Sweetie Belle sure is nice. No pony's ever asked to help me clean before, except for Twilight. That's actually kind of... That's okay, Spike, said Twilight, levitating the broom out of Spike's hands. I can take care of this. You'd better get going. Huh? Go where? Wait! Holy guacamole! That's right! I promised Rarity I was going to come over and be her assistant today. How could I possibly forget that? Thanks, Twilight! He waved goodbye as he ran out the door. Oh well, I'll just sweep for him here and... that is kind of puzzling, actually. How did Spike forget that he was going to see Rarity? He's never done that before. And a few more beads here, said Rarity. She levitated some blue beads from a box that Opal Essence was precariously balancing on her head. Today was an especially important day for her at the Carousel Boutique. She was preparing a very special dress, and had been so enraptured when Spike offered to be her personal assistant for the day. Let's see. 4 more ought to do it. Actually, now that I think about it, 5 would look much better. No, I'm going to stay with my original instinct. There shall be 4 beads on this section. Oh! As she contemplated her soon-to-be brilliant work, the bell above the door rang and Spike walked in. Hi, Rarity. Sorry I'm a little late. I, kinda lost track of time. Rarity didn't respond, however. She was focusing all of her attention on the dress. Spike walked up behind her. Rarity? Hello? He poked her leg. However, this startled the lovely fashionista, and she slipped off of her stool. Whoa! I gotcha, Rarity! Taking the chance to be Rarity's hero, Spike made a bold dive and caught Rarity by the back just before she hit the ground. Oh my gosh! I am so sorry, Rarity. I didn't mean to scare you like that. Oh, that's quite all right, Spike, Rarity replied. I do apologize. I was so busy tending to this design that I didn't hear you come in. But I'm so glad you're here now. Opal can be a rather clumsy assistant sometimes. Rarity's stubborn cat just ignored the criticisms and climbed into her bed, purring in relief now that the tedium was over. That dress must be really important then, huh? Oh, Spike, chuckled Rarity as she nuzzled his head. I consider all of my dresses to be important. But yes, this dress is a little more special than usual. It was commissioned to me by a most esteemed client from Canterlot, the one and only Raquel Ruby. Can you even imagine? The Raquel Ruby, the pony who... She continued talking, but Spike wasn't paying attention. He was lost in her absolute beauty, his gaze focused on her rich purple mane, bouncing up as she talked, and he watched her eyelashes flutter as she blinked. Just looking at Rarity was enough to send Spike's heart rocketing. She's so beautiful. That gorgeous flowing mane, those delicately plucked eyelashes, and her rich, soothing voice. Oh, Rarity, how I wish you could see the way I really feel about you. How I just wish that we could be together forever, you and me, and nobody else. The bell above the door rung again, silencing both Rarity's long-winded ramble and Spike's own thoughts. "See you tomorrow, Sweetie Belle," called Apple Bloom. Sweetie Belle waved back at Apple Bloom and Scootaloo before fully entering what had recently become her permanent home. She still had a soft smile crossing her lips, but she stopped in her tracks when she saw Spike in the room. "Shoot! I didn't expect him to be here. Maybe I should just come back later. Oh, what's the use? They already know I'm here, and I have to talk to Rarity sooner or later. I need to know that what I think I'm feeling for Spike is true." She gulped for a second before approaching the both of them. She was braving her own nervousness now, trying to ignore her heart racing faster and faster the closer she walked to Spike and Rarity. "Hello, sweetie," said Rarity. "Any luck on acquiring that cutie mark yet?" "Not yet," replied Sweetie Belle. "Do you need any help with that dress?" No, that's quite all right, but thank you for offering." Sweetie's head drooped in response. "Oh, come now, sweetums. I know I usually let you help me out, and you've grown to be quite a competent little assistant." She nuzzled Sweetie's head, but she brushed her away. "It's just that I really can't take any risks today. This dress has to come out absolutely perfect. And besides, Spike already offered all the help that I need right now." "Oh, well, okay. But, actually, sis, can I ask you something? In the back room. It's kind of important." "I'm very sorry, sweetie, but could you please wait?" she replied. "I am in the zone right now, as they say. Please, I really need to talk to you about something." She made a desperate puppy dog face and quivered her lip. She'd been searching for answers long enough. "Oh, all right. I suppose I can take a moment's break." "Well, you see, it's kind of hard to say exactly. I, um..." The two of them were alone in the back room now, free of Spike's earshot, but Sweetie Belle was still having difficulty trying to convey what she wanted to ask. After all, it was a very conscious subject for her. "How should I do this? I know what I want to say, but how will she react?" "Have some tea, sweetie," said Rarity. "It'll help to get your thoughts into order." Sweetie sipped the tea and made a heavenly sigh. "Rarity's tea is just the best. There we go. Now, you were saying..." "So, well, the thing is, I have this friend, and she's worried because she thinks that she might like one of her really good friends." Well, I should hope that she likes them," replied Rarity with a confused expression. "Liking somebody is sort of what being a good friend is all about, Sweetie Belle." No, no, no," said Sweetie, shaking her head. "Not that kind of like. I mean, she likes one of her good friends. Like, even more than usual. Like, maybe she feels warmer or happier whenever he's around. Or when she talks to him. Or even when she's thinking about him." "Oh," replied Rarity. Sweetie almost thought she saw a coy smile escape her older sister's mouth. "Well, sweetums, the answer is obvious. Don't you see?" Sweetie remained motionless. "Your friend fancies her companion, Sweetie Belle. Those strong feelings of warmth and longing, those are all feelings of love and passion. Destiny is making its mark, and it has been decided that these two are fated to love one another and be in each other's hooves." "Right," said Sweetie. Her eyes darted back and forth as the thoughts ran through her mind. "That's just what I was afraid of. I can't run away from it any longer. I... I'm in love with Spike. I have a crush on a dragon. Thanks for telling me, sis. I gotta go." As soon as she left, A very sly smile developed along Rarity's lips. You know, Sweetie Belle, I sure hope that this friend will eventually gather enough courage to tell her big sister the whole truth. Sweetie Belle looked over to Spike again. He was moving around the room looking for Rarity's chest of jade-green emeralds. Taking a good look at him eased all the doubts in her mind. The way his legs and arms moved when he hustled was one of the cutest things Sweetie had ever seen. She watched as his tail wagged with excitement, influencing her own tail to start shifting slightly. But what captivated Sweetie the most was the fierce look of determination on Spike's face. He was going to find that chest, no matter what. Her heart raced watching that face, that bold and heroic-looking face. Warm feelings coursed through her entire body. Well, it's true. I'm definitely in love with Spike. Well, I guess no. It's just a crush, or... No. I just like Spike a little more than any other friend, that's all. I'm just going to talk to him like a friend, and nothing else. Oh no, here he comes. Act natural. Hi, Spike. Hey, Sweetie Belle. Again? Gosh, you're just everywhere today. I'm not following you, Sweetie suddenly yammered. I never said you were, said Spike, taken aback by her response. Are you okay, Sweetie Belle? Oh, wow, he just said my name. Why am I so excited that he said my name? Nothing. It's just... I'm just... Way to go, Sweetie Belle. Now you're embarrassing yourself. Hey, Spike, can I ask you something? Sure, Sweetie, what is it? Even though it was obviously her name, she still couldn't help but blush when Spike called her Sweetie, and desperately tried to cover up this blushing. Well, Spike, the thing is, we're friends, right? Like, good friends? Well, yeah, of course we're good friends, replied Spike. He scratched his head, clearly confused by the way Sweetie Belle was reacting. As soft-spoken as Rarity's younger sister had been lately, she didn't usually stumble over her own words. But then again, she was now more aware of the truth behind her feelings. No, I mean like really, really good friends. Really, really great friends. She leaned in close to him, even though she was feeling just as tense as Spike. Spike was even starting to blush himself. Sweetie noticed this and backed away from him a little, trying to ignore her hooves tingling. Well, yeah, I'd say we're really great friends, he replied. Because, well, ever since you moved in with Rarity, we've been seeing each other a lot more lately. I see you at Rarity's place all the time now, and you and the Crusaders are always crossing by. Now that I think about it, actually, you've been talking with me just by yourself a lot lately. You're right. I guess I have. I didn't really notice, said Sweetie Belle, chuckling nervously. Well, I guess I'm gonna go now. See you later, Spike. She only walked 2 steps before wincing to herself. What am I doing? I can't just talk to him like he's just a friend, because I like him more than a friend now. I should be doing more than just talking to him, right? I have to do something nicer than that. But what? Something nicer. Something nicer. Hang on. Hey, Spike. Yeah? He replied. Well, I've been thinking, and I really want you to have this. What she then pulled out of her saddlebag made Spike's eyes grow wide with awe. The gemstone was almost bigger than Sweetie's head, and it glistened in the reflection cast by the window. The blue shine that it cast was almost enough to make Spike want to cover his eyes. Is that for me? Asked Spike, his eyes dilating and his mouth watering. Sweetie couldn't help but smile at how adorable Spike looked as he fawned over the gem. That's the biggest ocean sapphire I've ever seen. Now, this should be just enough rolls of cloth for... Huh? Rarity was exiting the back room with more supplies for her dress, but she stopped and her eyes widened in surprise when she caught sight of the sapphire. It was such a large, priceless stone, and Sweetie Belle had been holding on to it the whole time? Now, where in the name of Equestria did she obtain that? I found it once when our class went on a field trip to Cherry Bomb Mountain, Sweetie explained to Spike. I kept it around all this time because I really didn't know what I was going to do with it. And well, I was thinking, like I said, and I really think you should have it." She held out the sapphire to him. Spike was enamored, whilst Rarity bit her arm in a conflict of self-control. "Didn't know what she was going to do with it, my flank. My dresses would be the absolute pinnacle of dresses in Canterlot if they were adorned with such a rare and valuable brand of sapphire. And there she is, just handing it off to Spike, and he's probably going to thoughtlessly snack on it later." Despite these mental objections, something in her heart told her not to intervene. Hesitantly, she forced herself to retreat into the back room again to look for more supplies. I don't know what to say." Spike accepted the sapphire and embraced it in his arms for a moment, eyeing the glossy deep blue surface that adorned the gem. "Sweetie Belle, this is the nicest, sweetest thing that anyone has ever given to me. Thank you." "Huh? Is something wrong, sweetie?" Sweetie had turned herself away from Spike, trying to hide her intensely red face. Spike's compliment had made her feel extremely twitterpated, and now she was afraid that her whole body was going to flush red. "Nothing. Nothing's wrong. It's just, I really need to go somewhere else." In a flash, she darted out the door. "See you later, Spike." "Sweetie Belle?" Spike gazed at the sapphire in his hands, and then back at the door. What's wrong with her? He reached a claw out, as if to call after her. Chapter 2. The Chosen One. Why is this happening? I've never blushed around Spike like this before. What's wrong with me? Is this what love is supposed to feel like? Sweetie's running slowed the further she got from the carousel boutique. When she finally made it to the park, she stopped at a tree, very much out of breath. Although her body began to calm down, her mind was running rampant. So, it's true then. It really is true. I thought that I had a crush on Spike, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know I could fall in love. I thought I was too young to like some pony like that. But Rarity says I do, and no pony else would know better than her. I guess I knew it all along, the way I looked at him. I wouldn't gaze at any pony else like that. Wow, I didn't even know a pony could like a dragon. I always thought I'd have a crush on a colt, like every pony else. What do I do now? Should I actually do something about it? Do I really want him to know that I have a crush on him? Do I want anyone to know I have a crush on Spike? What if it's really weird for a pony to like a dragon? And even worse, what if Spike doesn't like me back? I'm a pony who likes a dragon. But what if dragons can't have a crush on ponies? What if they only like other dragons? I've already become really good friends with Spike, and if I told him that I like him, then he'll think I'm just a sick freak and he won't even want to be my friend anymore. Tears welling up in her eyes, she buried her head in the thick trunk. What? What do I do next? Oh dear, are you okay? Sweetie's glistening eyes looked up to see a timid yellow Pegasus looking down at her with a deeply concerned face. I'm fine, Fluttershy. Nothing's wrong, she replied. Are you sure? You looked upset. Is everything all right? Asked Fluttershy. Don't worry. I'm fine. I'm happier than a buzzing bee, she stated, putting on a false grin and breaking into a trot. Okay, said Fluttershy, shyly shuffling her hooves. But you know, Sweetie Belle, if you ever need to talk to some pony, you can always come by my cottage. I'd be more than happy to talk. Thanks, Fluttershy, but I'm fine, honestly. The sun had almost completely set as Sweetie Belle walked up to her bedroom. When she came home, Rarity had already finished her important dress, and Spike had gone home. Sweetie mostly isolated herself in her room for the rest of the day, thinking about her situation. I can't tell Fluttershy or Rarity, because they might think I'm weird for liking a dragon. I guess I just have to keep these feelings to myself and not tell anyone. When she walked into her room, her older sister was tidying up her bed for her. "Hello, sweetie," said Rarity. "Don't mind me. I just decided to straighten up your bed for you tonight. You seem like you had a long day." "Thanks, Rarity," said Sweetie Belle as she climbed into bed. "I guess I've had a pretty weird day." Rarity was going to say good night, but she sighed and decided she needed to confront her younger sister. "Sweetie Belle, dearie, you simply must tell me if something is wrong. You barely even had a scrap of your supper, and you've been acting, well, very out of sorts as of late. Is something troubling you? Anything at all?" "Nothing's wrong," Sweetie replied. "I'm just exhausted. We were out crusading all day, and it's just been crazy, but I'm fine, really." "You're overwhelmed. Don't worry, I know the feeling. Good night, sweetums. Let's hope you feel better tomorrow." "Yeah. Good night, Rarity." Rarity gave her sister a gentle kiss on the horn and almost left the room, but after a minute she turned around again. "Sweetie Belle, I just wanted to tell you, you're my little sister, and I care for you a lot. If you ever had a problem and didn't know who to turn to, I'll always be there to help. Do you understand?" Sweetie nodded. When Rarity went back downstairs, however, she clearly had a look of disappointment on her face. "Oh, Sweetie Belle, why won't you just tell me that you're in love?" He was surrounded in all directions by fearsome ninja ponies. They closed in on him. Being ambushed on the roof of a zeppelin, the tall and handsome young dragon was running out of options. "Looks like I've got no other choice. If you don't all get out of my way, you're going to pay." "Just try and stop us," the lead ninja retorted. "If you so much as make a single move, you'll never see her again." "Very well, then." The bold and hunky dragon took a deep inhale. He then unleashed a great storm of fire breath, spewing it at his enemies. The ninja ponies were so frightened that they all jumped off of the zeppelin, deploying their parachutes as they descended. "Not a single move," he proudly stated. "Yeah!" The lead ninja, the only one left, drew his wakizashi and charged at the great fire breather of purple and green. But the young heroic dragon was exceptionally crafty. He quickly took a sidestep, leading the ninja to instead fall right off of the ledge of the zeppelin. "You haven't seen the last of us, Spike the Chosen One!" he yelled as he deployed his own parachute. With all the ninjas defeated, the young dragon climbed back into the zeppelin and charged through its halls, until he finally punched open the door that stood between him and his fair maiden, tied to a chair and about to fall off of the bridge. "Yeah! Some pony save me!" she yelled. The young dragon dashed towards her as fast as he could. "I'm coming, my fair Rarity!" And with a swift jump into the air, he grabbed one of the chair's legs with one hand and the rail of the bridge with the other, and set the fair maiden down. Next, he pulled out his army knife and quickly untied her. "Oh, thank you, Spike the Chosen One," said the fair maiden. "You're my incredibly handsome and dashing hero." "It was all in a day's work, my fair Rarity." Her purple mane blew in the high winds. No other maiden could look so beautiful at this altitude. They both puckered their lips and closed their eyes as they got ready to share a kiss. The young dragon eventually opened his eyes, but when he did, he didn't see the fair maiden anymore, but rather a much younger filly. "Hi, Spike!" "Yeah!" Spike sat up in his basket. His awesome dream of rescuing Rarity had gone well until the end, when she suddenly turned into Sweetie Belle. "Oh, man! Just when I had finally gotten some sleep, too. Ugh, why does Sweetie Belle keep coming into my head? Ever since she gave me that big sapphire and suddenly ran out of Rarity's shop, I've just been thinking about her all day. I still wish I knew why she ran out. She seemed really scared. Why?" Feeling restless, he gazed out the window, at Luna's moon and all the stars twinkling in the sky. It was probably his imagination, but they seemed like they weren't twinkling as brightly as they normally would. The only other light in the room was the shine cast by Sweetie Belle's sapphire, which made Spike squint when he looked in its direction. It was probably just a bad dream, he scoffed. Maybe if I try sleeping again, I'll have a much better dream. About Rarity this time. I hope. The next morning, Rarity woke up earlier than usual and decided to use that time to prepare a hearty breakfast for herself and Sweetie Belle. As she added the last touch of garnish, a shining light out the window told her that Princess Celestia had just finished raising the sun. "This enriching meal should be just the thing to lift that little filly's mood," Rarity said to herself. "Maybe now she'll feel entrusted enough to fully share her feelings with me. I've read more than enough romance novels to see right through that persistent little wall of denial. She's a pony in love, and just can't find the strength to tell me. There's also the fact that several of those novels have recently gone missing from my shelf." Just as she finished setting the table, Sweetie Belle came into the kitchen. Good morning," she said. "Good morning, sweetie—" What's wrong?" Sweetie asked, panicking. "Is there something in my teeth?" "Honestly, honey, your teeth should be the least of your worries. You look positively awful," Rarity exclaimed, examining Sweetie's mane and face. "Sweet Celestia, did you have trouble falling asleep last night?" "No. Well, maybe a little bit," Sweetie meekly replied. "Whoa, you made breakfast early this morning." "Not entirely. You overslept, darling." She levitated a comb over and started straightening out her sister's frazzled mane. "Now, why don't you come over and have breakfast while I ask you some questions about this friend of yours who's in love?" Sweetie Belle gulped. "Get me out of here, right now." "Maybe she overslept or something. I don't know," said Scootaloo. She and Applebloom were both walking down the path to the Carousel Boutique. Or maybe she wasn't even paying attention when we all agreed that we were going to have a meeting at the clubhouse this morning. "Hey now," scolded Applebloom. "That's awful harsh, don't you think?" "Well, it's true. Haven't you seen her lately? She keeps getting distracted and not paying attention to anything when we're doing stuff. We tried running a paper route the other day and she kept throwing them into the ponies' yards and windows. And you remember what she did yesterday when we were trying to be chemists." "Well, whatever it is, it's probably not her fault," said Applebloom. Scootaloo made an uneasy grunt before she knocked on the boutique's door. Sweetie Belle was the one who answered it, a look of relief on her face. "There you are!" Scootaloo exclaimed. "Applebloom and I were waiting for you. We were going to hold a meeting at the clubhouse today, remember?" "We were?" Scootaloo glared at her, and then shot Applebloom an annoyed expression, her theory confirmed. "Well, okay then. Sorry for being late. Bye, sis. I'm going to go out with the Crusaders now." "What?" replied Rarity, with a shocked look on her face. "But you haven't finished your breakfast yet. I still had more things to talk about." "That's okay. I'm full anyway. I'll see you later." She went out the door with her friends, sighing as soon as she was out. "Thank goodness," she quietly muttered to herself. "Oh," said Rarity to herself. "I thought for sure I could get Sweetie Belle to admit that she's the one with the crush, and on whom. I have to make sure that she doesn't get hurt like I did with that big blowhard of a prince." Going to close the door, she almost stumbled on Opalescence. The cat yowled at Rarity in response, angry at having been woken up from her nap. "All right, I've had just about enough of this," exclaimed Rarity, as she growled in frustration. "As soon as that filly is home again, I'll see to it that she opens up about her love one way or another. You'd think we've bonded as sisters enough that she would entrust her secrets with me, but apparently not. I have to take matters into my own hooves before her heart is broken." "And then we're going to hit up Sugar Cube Corner and see if we can get our cutie marks and frosting cakes and cupcakes," Scootaloo recapped. "How does that sound?" "Well," said Sweetie, "that could work, I guess. Or if we aren't good at baking sweets, we could always see how good we are at making tasty treats. I wouldn't mind a cake maker's cutie mark like the cakes." I guess so, but Didn't we try baking things last week? Asked Scootaloo. Did we? Said Sweetie. I don't remember. Wait, oh yeah, we did. Oops, I'm sorry. That's alright, said Scootaloo. Anyways, after that, we're gonna stop by Vinyl Studio to... what were we gonna do there again, Apple Bloom? Well, I was just thinking that maybe our cutie marks could be music related, explained Apple Bloom. And Vinyl Studio would be the perfect place to test it out. Maybe she'll let us play with her microphones and those big stereo speakers. While she continued speaking, Sweetie put her head to the floor, still in a flux about her crush. I wish there was some pony I could talk to, but who can I trust that not to call me a freak? I know I can't tell Spike. He probably doesn't like me back. I'm sure of it. Whatever happens, I don't want to risk our friendship. Why did I have to have a crush now, and on Spike of all why can't I just be a filly and have fun, and worry about a crush when I'm older? And it'd be much simpler if it were a pony that I liked. And maybe we can spin some records on the turntables and play some jams. Scootaloo jumped in excitement. Yeah, I bet I'll make a great DJ. Just imagine the cutie mark. What do you think, Sweetie Belle? After gaining only silence in reply, Scootaloo adopted a puzzled expression. Sweetie Belle? Yo, Equestria to Sweetie Belle. Hello? Huh? What? Sweetie was awoken from her thoughts as an orange Pegasus shook her shoulders, looking very annoyed. Oh, yeah, I think that's a great idea, Scootaloo. What was your idea again? Oh, man, what is with you lately? Scootaloo huffed. You keep forgetting about our meetings, and you're never focused anymore. I'm the one whose head should be in the clouds. I don't know. I guess I've just had some things on my mind. I don't want to talk about it, okay? What are you so caught up with that you can't even tell us? Apple Bloom inquired. We're your friends, Sweetie Belle. We'd listen to any problems you had. You never know. Maybe my special talent is helping other ponies' problems. Her fellow crusader just growled in response to yet another reassurance card. If I wanted to talk to any pony, then I'd talk. I don't need every pony holding my hoof everywhere. I'm a big filly now. It's nothing, okay? I don't need to talk to you or any pony. Not Fluttershy, not Rarity, not any pony else. I'm fine. I'm sorry, Sweetie Belle. I just wanted to... Apple Bloom was almost on the verge of tears. Her friends were yelling all around her. Sweetie Belle drew back, realizing what she was doing. No, Apple Bloom. I'm sorry. She gave Apple Bloom a gentle hug. It's just... I can't take it anymore. Every pony's been trying to get me to talk to them about my problems. I'm sick of it. Why can't every pony just leave me alone? By this point, Scootaloo's anger had faded, and she started shuffling her hoof on the floor in guilt. She hadn't meant to make Sweetie so angry. Look, Sweetie Belle, I really don't mean anything mean by this, but you have been acting kind of weird lately. It really seems like something's bugging you, and... well, I think maybe you should take the day off. What? But I... Please, Sweetie Belle, Scootaloo continued. I'm your best friend, and I'm really worried about you. Please try to understand. But... Apple Bloom put her hoof on her shoulder. Don't worry none. If Scootaloo and I get our cutie marks today without you, then we won't rest until you've gotten yours too. Sweetie was about to make a rebuttal, but she sighed in defeat. She wasn't going to get out of this. They're right. I know they're right. She sadly began to walk towards the door. Hey, Sweetie Belle? Scootaloo called. Yeah? Listen, I know you said you're sick of every pony saying the same things, but... you know what I think? I think that maybe you should try talking to some pony instead of keeping it all a secret. Yeah, Apple Bloom chimed in. Applejack told me that when you keep your problems all bottled up, it just ain't good for you at all, and if you keep it up, then eventually that bottle will explode. Sweetie nodded in understanding. Thanks, guys. She waved to her friends as she exited the clubhouse. As she walked away, she considered her options and made a decision. "Alright, I have to do this," she gulped. "Let's just hope Fluttershy won't think I'm sick." Chapter 3. Isolation. "Come on, Twilight," said Spike. "Why do we need to go for a stroll around the park this early in the afternoon? I'm still really tired. I barely slept a wink last night." "Exactly, Spike," replied Twilight. "I can tell that you're very stressed from all of the work you've been doing lately, and it's affecting your sleep pattern. Maybe a nice stroll through the park is just the thing you need to help you relax a little bit. After all work and no play makes Jack a dull colt." The young dragon simply huffed, kicking the dirt as he walked alongside Twilight down the stone path. "Yoo-hoo!" Rarity trotted up to Twilight and Spike, having been walking the other way down the path. "Oh, hi, Rarity," said Twilight. "What brings you out and about in the park?" "Oh, I'm just on my way to the spa to help clear some tension off of my hooves," she replied. "I always like to take the long way through the park because it also helps me relax a little. A self-cleansing walk, as it were. Anyway, I saw you two walk along, and I just had to stop by and take the opportunity to thank Spike again for being my assistant yesterday." "Oh, it was no problem, Rarity," said Spike. "You know I'll always be glad to help you in any way I can, whether it's digging up gems for you, or just simply being your supply fetcher. Guy." "I know. You're such a good friend, Spike. If it weren't for your help, I probably wouldn't have finished that masterpiece of a dress for Miss Ruby yesterday, and I'd be toiling away with it still instead of going to the spa today. I just can't thank you enough, my little Spiky Wikey." She leaned over and planted a kiss on Spike's left cheek. His entire body went rigid as a diamond. "Well, I'd best be off then. Ta-ta." As she galloped away, Spike felt the kiss mark left behind on his cheek, his cheeks blooming red with amour. His muscles still felt tense. "Is that a blush?" Twilight slyly asked. "Huh? I don't know. Maybe." "Looks like a blush to me." She made a small retorting laugh. "Still got that crush on her, huh? Now there's something about you that doesn't seem like it'll go away soon." "Yeah, I guess you're right, Twilight." Spike's eyes beamed. He had been feeling a lingering doubt in his mind, and he wasn't sure why. Now he started walking faster, with his confidence brimming. But then, the shine left his eyes as he looked out in front of him. Sweetie Belle was walking past the park entrance, on her way to Fluttershy's cottage to seek help. "Sweetie Belle?" Something about the way Sweetie's mane bounced up and down as she walked caught Spike's attention. He continued staring at her until she was out of his sight. Once she left, Spike suddenly realized he had been subconsciously rubbing his cheek the whole time he was watching her. What? But the cherry-red kiss mark that had adorned his cheek had faded into a more faint shade of red, and resting on his palm, it now looked like nothing more than a smear, a reflection. But before he could think about it any further, he suddenly burped up a scroll. Twilight recognized the seal immediately. A letter from Princess Celestia? "Thanks for the tea, Fluttershy," said Sweetie Belle. "This tastes just like the kind Rarity always makes." "Thank you, Sweetie Belle," Fluttershy replied. "You know, Rarity is the one who gave me the recipe for this tea in the first place. It always helps me calm down and relieve tension. Now, why don't you tell me all about what's made you so upset?" "I'm not upset," she replied through gritted teeth. Fluttershy knew better, though, and gave Sweetie a knowing smile. "Well, okay, I guess I'm having just a little problem." She looked down shyly for a moment. "Promise not to tell any pony, especially Rarity?" The pink-haired pony gently nodded. "I won't say a word to anyone, not even Rarity." "Well, the thing is—" She squeezed her eyes shut. I have a crush." An awkward silence followed. Sweetie began to sweat. The look on Fluttershy's face seemed to say it all. "Fluttershy? Please don't be mad at me. I know it's really weird for a filly as young as me to like some pony. Oh, not at all, Fluttershy hastily responded. I'm sorry, sweetie. I just wasn't expecting that you were upset because of a crush. Why, I think that's terrific that you managed to find love already. You think so? Absolutely. I think finding true love is better the earlier that it happens. You're so lucky, sweetie. If it isn't too much trouble, would you like to tell me their name? This is the tricky part. Admitting I have a crush was one thing, but it's who I have a crush on that'll be even harder for her to believe. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, said Fluttershy. No, that's all right, replied Sweetie. She squeezed her eyes shut again, and hesitated for a few seconds before finally. It's Spike. This time, she quickly covered her hooves over her face and tingled with the fear of rejection. After a few seconds, she peeked out to see that Fluttershy's face was not of shock or disgust, but was more inquisitive than anything. Spike? I know. Being in love as a young filly, sure, but look at me. I'm a filly with a crush on a dragon. I'm nothing but a sick freak. Don't say that, Sweetie Belle, Fluttershy suddenly shouted, a great tone of panic in her voice. I mean, I don't think you're a freak, Sweetie Belle. To prove her point, she flew over and gave Sweetie a passionate hug. I think you're a very normal, innocent, and sweet pony. Really? Sweetie's eyes glimmered with new hope. But still, have you ever heard of a pony special some pony being a dragon? I can't say I have, Fluttershy answered. But if you ask me, I don't think that matters at all. Your heart always knows the right place, and Spike's not like other dragons, all big and scary. No, he's a nice and charming guy, and so cute and clever, too. If you forget about the fact that he breathes fire, then he's basically like a pony. Wow. Sweetie was beginning to cry now. This time it wasn't of sadness, but of joy. I can't believe it. There really isn't anything wrong with me. These feelings I have for Spike, they're from my heart. That's right. Rarity always used to say that your heart always knows what's right, too. How could I have ever doubted it? Thank you, Fluttershy, she said sincerely. You have no idea how much this means to me. My pleasure, she replied, seating herself again. However, she stopped smiling when she noticed Sweetie's own smile slowly faded into a frown. There's something else, though, isn't there? Something else you're unsure of? Yeah, she quietly answered. So, I have a crush on Spike, and it's completely normal. But what do I do now? Should I follow my heart and tell Spike how I feel about him? I don't even know if he likes me back, or if he likes ponies at all. You're right. I guess that is a problem, said Fluttershy. If you don't mind, when did you first know you had a crush on Spike? Well, that's a funny story, actually. Ever since I moved in with Rarity, I've gotten to spend more time with Applebloom and Scootaloo. The Cutie Mark Crusaders were all over Ponyville, engaging in numerous random things, all in efforts to try to earn their cutie marks. But besides striving for this noble goal, they also did things just as friends, such as having a picnic together and going to Twilight's library to read books. But I also got to see my other friends a lot more, like Pinkie Pie and Miss Cheerilee and Spike. From behind Sweetie Belle, Spike was struggling to carry a stack of books, and he dropped one. Sweetie noticed, and she picked up the book for Spike, who looked very grateful for it. Later on, the two of them were seen reading that same book together. For a while, we were really just friends. I didn't really think about Spike in any other way until that day. One day, Sweetie Belle was walking alone in the park, singing a soft tune to herself in tranquility. Meanwhile, Spike was picking some flowers alongside the path and putting them in a basket, humming to himself. Sweetie Belle began watching a yellow butterfly as she walked, so she didn't see where she was going before accidentally bumping into Spike. Oof! The bump led to Spike dropping the basket, all the flowers inside spreading onto the ground. She gasped and put a hoof to her muzzle when she saw what she did. Oh my goodness! I am so sorry, Spike! That's okay, Sweetie Belle, said Spike. Here, let me help you pick all those up. She leaned down and started picking up the flowers with Spike, putting them all into the basket. Whew! Thanks. You're a real friend, sweetie. She blushed with modesty as Spike began counting all of the flowers. Huh, that's weird. What is it? Did I miss some of them? No, it's just... He picked up one of the flowers. There are 21 flowers in here. Twilight only needed me to get 20 baby blue roses for Fluttershy's birthday. I must have picked up an extra one by mistake. He thought for a minute, and then held it out to Sweetie with a smile. Here, Sweetie, why don't you take it? Huh? Sweetie replied, with a confused look on her face. I only need 20 of them, he explained. Just think of it as my gift to a friend, for helping me pick up the flowers. She took the flower and held it into her hooves. Gee, thanks, Spike. I don't know what to say. Gazing at the flower, a soft smile started to spread on Sweetie's lips. Hey, don't mention it. Now, I should get these flowers back to the library so Twilight and I can wrap them. See you later, Sweetie Belle, said Spike, waving goodbye as he picked up the wagon and resumed walking. Yeah, bye, said Sweetie Belle. She stared at the blue rose for a while, her eyes glistening. Little did she know, feelings were starting to churn inside of her. She felt an immense warmth throughout her body looking at that flower, all the bones in her body tingling as she thought of Spike handing it to her. It was one of the sweetest things anyone had ever given to me. Wow, said Fluttershy. I mean, that does sound romantic. I'm so happy for you, Sweetie. Well, thanks, but... Sweetie Belle looked down to the floor. I still don't know where to go from here. Should I let Spike know that I have a crush on him? I'm just really scared that if I tell him, he won't like me back and it'll ruin our friendship. I've seen other ponies find their special some pony before, and it makes me really happy when they do, but I don't feel like I'm ready to find one myself. Fluttershy, what should I do? Her eyes were starting to water. I'm not really sure, the timid mare began, blushing a little. I've never really had that special sun pony for myself. Sweetie blinked in shock. Wait, you've never... I would probably send him, some flowers, though. Flowers? You mean like he gave me? Mm-hmm. You can get a nice big bouquet of flowers, the same kind Spike gave you, and then send them to Twilight and Spike's house anonymously. Or, well, I guess you could sign your name if you'd like. I wouldn't, though. I'd be way too scared to let some pony know how I really feel, because what if they don't feel the same way? What if they're not into that sort of thing? What if she doesn't want to be my friend anymore? Fluttershy? Sweetie interjected. I don't think sending Spike flowers sounds like the best idea. That seems too obvious. Well, I don't know if I can think of anything else. Maybe all he really needs is a nice big hug. That's it? Just a hug? Got anything better than that? I'm sorry, Fluttershy replied. I wish I could help more. I just don't really know that much about love. The only love I've ever had is love for all the little animals and creatures out there. Sweetie Belle sighed heavily, resigned herself to the fact that she probably wasn't going to get any further answers, and proceeded to the door. That's okay. Thanks anyway, Fluttershy. No problem, she responded. I was glad to help, even if I wasn't much of a help. Good luck, Sweetie Belle. Thanks for the tea. She closed the door behind her with her tail. Oh, Fluttershy, she scolded herself. You really need to stop rambling so much. After all, you can't even help yourself. She sadly glanced at a particular photo on her wall, an aching feeling in her heart. This ends Part 1.